Nerd Radio, the world's best indie hip hop.
Hey, yo, what's going on? What's the word? It's your boy D Sick, aka the Rap Nerd. We are back, and this time we're gonna talk about AI. We're gonna talk about why everybody is mad at Timbaland right now. Timbaland is a hip hop legend. He done made some of my favorite beats, and this man has always been innovative. He's always been a step ahead. You know what I'm saying? He's always wanted to be the first to try things, and this man put like baby crying sounds in a beat. You know what I'm saying? That's how advanced he is. Like he thinks ahead of time, which is why he has always been in the position that he's in because he's very forward thinking. But this time, I think he might have got something wrong. Now he's supporting AI. He recently signed an AI artist named Tata that he believes is going to be like the next wave for a new genre called A-pop, which is artificial pop. And he really wants to push the AI technology, and he says that he wants his creativity to have like no bounds. That's the reason that he wants to try this. But I don't know if he realizes the detriment that he's causing. I don't know if he realizes how uncool this actually is. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to play some of the clips from the live that he had. He had a conversation with Young Guru, RZA, amongst others. And all of them was telling him like, yo, bro, you bugging. But I'm going to play some clips and just give y'all my reaction to these clips.
The only problem, like there's a problem with, about how it's been trained and stuff like that and whatever. But that's a little like I don't know, because it feels like I don't know if it's trained off of people music. I think it's trained off of theory.
No, it's trained off of people music. So
Tell me that. So how can you how do you see that? Like how do you
Now Timbaland playing dumb. He know that this Suno model AI thing that he's messing with does get trained off of other people's music. He trying to act like he don't know that, but he knows.
So here's what it is, right?
Hold on, let me go to the bathroom.
When you come in with AI,
hold that thought. Let me go to the bathroom. Hold on.
It's trained off of people music, and so let's go through the whole thing. And I told Tim I was going to go deep on this, and later when we get off of music, and that's when I was saying it's bigger than music, right? For me, because I'm a nerd and I'm a tech dude, and I understand this whole thing. So when you say it's trained off of people music, meaning that what we do is that we take the history of music and we put this and analyze everything. We see when it's going from a G to a F to a whatever. To like we see all of that. We see how fast it goes. We see how many times it goes. And what you'll do is eventually you're going to be able to type in and say, yo, give me a Timbo type beat at 98
You
BPMs.
can't do that. You can't do that.
No, but I'm telling you that
Why
you
you
can.
can't?
Because what it does is it's going to analyze your whole catalog in a day.
See, I've been breaking down the machine. It hasn't done that. I'm not gonna say
Timbaland up here lying, bro.
No.
Are you saying it will go there?
Tim, you gotta understand that we at the beginning of this.
Now Timbaland to me just seems very naive. It seems like he just don't know what's going on, or he's pretending that he don't know what's going on. I think he had to take that bathroom break to go like recoup and figure out what he wanted to say because he know he up here looking crazy. We all know that AI is trained off of the prompts, off of the human input. It can only learn from what you give it. It analyzes everyone's music and uses that to come up with new music. Even sometimes to where whatever is input, it can spit out something that is almost eerily similar, and that's stealing, and when it comes to the use of AI, there are some good uses of AI. It can be used for bad. It's just all about how you use it. But I just feel like there's going to be a lot of stealing going on and a lot of artists who are going to have their ideas completely stripped from them because of this AI. Now, some of the arguments for the people that were going against Timbaland, they were just saying like, hey, yo, why don't we find some regulation for this? which is what I highly agree with. Let's find some regulation, let's get some legislation going, and let's make sure that if your music was used to train an AI model, or not even just to train, but if a song goes out and it has AI elements and the AI elements came from your music, you should get paid from that. It's simple. You should get paid from that. AI and ChatGPT and all that can keep track of everything else. So why can't it keep track of whose music it's using and compensate? There is money out there because people are paying $20 and up to use these open source AI things. So it's not like the money ain't there. So I just feel like I'm not completely against AI myself, but when it comes to music, especially hip hop that's supposed to come from the soul, that's something that a machine can never duplicate. And I'm very disappointed that someone like Timbaland can't understand that. All right, now let's get into the part of the conversation where they talk about like the good and the bad uses of AI.
To say that there's always going to be human beings moving from one space to another. What I'm saying that now with AI, we are moving to a space where we are getting out of capitalism and we're getting into techno-feudalism. And we're getting to a space where we're creating so much space in between the haves and the have-nots that you're actually leading into more people being broke and just this small elite group of people owning everything. And that's the problem. When I can get to a point where I don't need you. Imagine you're training this thing so good that we don't need Timbo no more.
That's real talk. And I don't understand how Timbaland don't understand that himself, man. Like there is times where it can expand your creativity, but you can't just completely depend on this to make music now or push an AI artist, because the message that sends to the labels and everything, which I'm sure they probably already have this in play, is, oh snap, well, we can just make AI artists, and if the people are feeling the music, then we don't have to pay anyone. You know what I'm saying? If we 100% own this computerized AI artist, we don't have to pay anything. Everything is about money at the end of the day. Money is always the bottom line. And there's just people being greedy out here. And it's crazy that Timberland is the one that's out here pushing this narrative. It's just like with any other industry. When they find an easy and more efficient way to do it without paying people, they're going to do it. And so many people are going to lose their jobs, including Timberland. He keep playing around.
Like them wanting to eliminate jobs. Because that was a goal, because compensation is what they're going to, save. They don't have to pay XYZ amount of dollars a year because the computer can do it. But at the end of the day, the computer can't do it at that taste level, that skill set, that texture, that feel. You still need that. And what I'm saying is I have producers, literally, extremely Grammy nominated, decorated producers, literally putting beats in.
First of all, let me just say Timberland is actually being disrespectful to this conversation, because there's so many times that he just got up and just walked away. Like he's not even trying to listen to what his peers are saying about this.
Sonel trying to get the beats right, and they can't get that sound right because they still don't have that taste. They don't have that texture. They don't have the ear to produce it at that level.
Facts.
You still need a human to get and I've been in Timbo's studio and heard Tata's music and was completely blown away. And my producers have used that skill set and used that tool, and I've been blown away from it. But it still takes that taste level, because at the end of the day, you can use whatever tool you want, right? You can use whatever technology you want. You still got to have that ear to get that quality at that level. That's why I said we're going from A to Z, because the technology is definitely, it could put a lot of people out of business, right?
It definitely will.
Highly skilled
I'm gonna show you how it's gonna put everybody out of business.
But those highly skilled people in every industry are always there.
Hold on. Hold that thought.
Let me start with this. You talked about cars. My father's side of my family is from Detroit. So let's talk about automation on a real basic level, and I'm gonna take y'all all the way up. And when I get deep into this, you'll fully understand, right?
Talk to him.
before the line used to be a bunch of men and women.
We're gonna John's Wall. We're gonna bring you in.
Cars, right? And we got to automation to where, why do I need human beings screwing in these screws, creating these cars? I can get machines to do this, right? It was the death of Detroit. The auto industry in Detroit left.
We let him know.
So my older cousins who was in management, they survived, yeah. But the people, the playing field of what happened was the people that was my mama and my daddy age that gave the jobs and worked all the way to manager, and they had their sons and their daughters on that line. Now the sons and the daughters don't have no job because literally a computer is screwing in the car. You understand what I'm saying? It cuts out all of those jobs. Detroit falls. The U.S. car industry falls. So you, personally, you made your money. And that's great. Black man make your money. But you one person. What happened to the rest of the people that worked on the line?
Nah, facts.
They out of a job because a computer now comes in and is able to create the car. So what I'm talking about is the ecosystem, bro.
Man, shout out to Young Guru, man. That was really well said, because I am not against technology making things better. Like, I am legit a tech nerd. I got all type of technology in my studio and in my house and all that. I use Alexa for everything, all of it, man. I'm all about the technology. But when it comes to music and the soul and the essence of the human element that's supposed to be in music, that is not to be played with. And on top of that, the industry, the music industry, hip hop sector of it specifically that you claim to care about so much, Timbaland, you're going to make it crumble. You're going to play a hand in it crumbling. And it's like, I could expect this from some other people, but just not Timbaland, dog. I just don't think that this message is getting through to Timbaland. I feel like he's being really selfish in this whole conversation. He's barely listening. I feel like this same conversation came about when, sampling became a big thing in the industry too. They were like, oh, snap. If you use a piece of our art to create your art, the only way to make it right is to make sure that the person with the original art is compensated in one way or another. And AI is a way to completely make sure that the people are not compensated who created the original art that influenced or inspired, the new art. So that's why I don't understand with how much sampling Timbaland does and everything. I don't understand how he doesn't understand that concept. If you are the one that laid down the original idea, it don't matter how different it sounds when somebody else gets their hands on it. You should be compensated for inspiring that other piece, you know. And it's just I can't wrap my head around how Timbaland don't understand this.
Let me make it absolutely clear. I'm an optimist. You are not going to stop AI. Let me be clear. I think people, because that was one of the things I want to address where people was like, "Go, you're not going to stop." Of course, it's here. You're not going to stop it. What I'm talking about is regulation and the way that we have to think about it to be able to move to ask what we asking for. So stay on that same thing that you're talking about, sampling, right? When we first came out, we was just sampling free, right? We was just sampling free and nobody was getting sued. And then it came to the people being like, yo, you using my music. So, okay, of course. Now we have sample clearance. The big case that brought it all to fruition was the Biz Markie case when they actually took Biz's album off the shelf, right? Because, yo, you can't just freely take somebody's music. So that's why we have sample clearance. Me and Ninth Wonder spend we could have been put Ruben Vincent album out. You know why? Because why it's not out? Because of the fact that we're going through sample clearance. We're going to properly pay everyone that we sample from. Now, first of all, sampling the way that we do it is to take something and to say, yo, I'm reimagining this, but I'm giving you credit and I'm actually paying you for it. Right? AI is
as you should.
Not paying the people that they're training this thing off of. Number one. Number two is that sampling is a collage of us saying, how can I take whatever you did and reimagine it? Tim doing I Can't Stand the Rain is a completely different imagination of that record put in a different way. That's a sample. So that's a false equivalent to try to say that sampling and AI is the same thing. It's not. We credit the people that we take the music from. It's an art form because we say we're a collage of everything. But the biggest thing is that we have law. That's all I'm asking for. If you look right now in the United States, I cannot have a copyright on my voice. I can have a copyright on a composition.
That's crazy. That's something that I feel like needs to change too. When it comes to like your likeness, as far as like, well, there's people that look alike in the world, so that might get tricky. And there's voices that sound alike, a lot alike in the world. However, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to your likeness, you should be able to own, like, you should be able to benefit if somebody uses your exact voice for something. Like Timbaland, even recently, I seen another video where he was like, man, I always wanted to make a song with Biggie, and now I got one. And he played like a Biggie verse that had just Biggie's like voice, but it wasn't Biggie. And I'm like, okay, so you still don't have a song with Biggie. Like, stop playing like that, bro. That's not cool.
But I can't have a copyright on my voice, which means that if you take Biggie lyrics, you gotta pay for that. But if you take Biggie voice, you don't have to pay for
That's
it.
name and
crazy.
likeness. That be in the terms and conditions.
I understand that Timbaland wants to be ahead of the game because he always has been. But this ain't it, my guy. You done disappointed everyone. I feel like you got to do your own thing unapologetically. However, if there's like a sea full of people, including the people whose opinion that you respect, the people that you came up on, things of that nature, I feel like you got to reevaluate your thought pattern. I don't even know if Timbaland is even open to hearing what people are saying. I do hope that Timbaland understands that the whole purpose of this conversation is to make sure that the artists and the creatives, the human ones, don't get screwed behind this. I do think there's a way that like AI stuff can coexist with human stuff, but there's no way that AI should be able to just take over. It's going to get to where there's no real soul in music. And we just can't have that, man. And I'm disappointed that one of my favorite producers is like leading the movement as far as this with like an AI artist and everything like that. It's like, it's selfish at the end of the day. It's very selfish at the end of the day. And I don't really know what else to say about it, man. This is a continuing, ongoing conversation, especially within the hip hop community, that is just going to keep going on and on and on. So, here's my little 2 cents. And y'all go ahead and comment below what y'all think about this whole AI revolution. Do you agree with Timbaland? Do you think Timbaland is bugging? Like, just tell me what y'all think about this whole AI debacle here in hip hop. And that's it, man. We're going to go ahead and get up out of here, man. So as always, until next time, if you don't have a vision, you better off blind. And if you don't live with a purpose, you are better off dying. It's your boy D Sick, aka the Rap Nerd. I'm out of here. Peace and love.
You're now listening to Rap Nerd Radio, the world's best indie hip hop.